Welcome to the Daily Energize podcast, your quick dose of clarity, quick tips, and the spark you need to shine bright. Here's your host, Spencer Jones.
What is the story you are telling yourself, and what story are you telling the rest of the world? It's amazing what that can do for your enjoyment of life. And that is what we're talking about in this episode of the Daily Energize. It is I, your host, Spencer Jones, as always, and I'm so grateful to have you here. And I believe I've shared this once or twice before in these episodes. I know I share it out in our boot camp and the energy recharge events that we do, but I want to share it out here because it is so important, so vital, and we need these reminders. At least I know I need these reminders, and so I'm guessing they could be helpful for you as well, because I know some of our other energizers have mentioned that hearing this a couple times is helpful. So anyway, let's talk about the narrative that you are telling yourself and the world about you. So let me ask you a question. Now, there's no judgment, no shame, no guilt, none of this stuff associated with it. It's pure awareness. Let's just become more aware and help you become more aware of the story, the narrative that you are telling yourself. So think about your life for a moment. Get rid of all judgment, all shame, all that stuff. Just get rid of it. Think about your life's journey. Is your life's journey one of sorrow, of pain, of suffering, of constant hardships? Like, woe is me, the world is against me, everything's a struggle, it's an uphill battle? Is the story, when you look back on your life, does it look like that? Does it feel like that? Or does it feel like the opposite? Like, hey, I've had some really good moments. There's been these positives in it. Yes, there's been these struggles. I've obviously fallen and, hit, I don't know how to say it, struggled before. I've hit rock bottom, but I've bounced back. I'm not staying in that funk. There's still some good and beautiful things there. Which side does your story fit in, or where does it lean? Maybe it's in the middle somewhere, but it leans one way or the other. Again, there's no judgment. It's just raising your awareness. I found this really interesting years ago when I heard this, and I started to make sure I changed it in my life, and it helped in doing it with others and seeing the change in their life. Because science shows that the narrative we say to ourselves and say to the world is one of the biggest hacks we can do to reprogram our brain to have more joy, more positives in our life. Actually, scientifically proven, is by changing our narrative to one that is more positive and more beneficial. So instead of the woe is me, life sucks, life's a struggle, it's an uphill battle, no one seems to understand me, all of that. That doesn't serve you, doesn't serve anyone, except tries to get you more attention, right? So people go, oh, poor you, which I get. I'm not here judging you, but that's what those stories do. And so when we get the attention, we feel like people see us and understand us, but there's things that can lead to that aren't as helpful for us. And then we reinforce that thought pattern. Anytime we share those stories, we keep going down that rabbit hole. It's like everything. Where your focus goes, your energy goes. So if you're focusing on sharing those stories and you share it over and over again, those neural pathways get stronger and stronger and stronger in your brain. Well, what if the opposite happened? You started to change that narrative. You started to say, hey, I've had these amazing things in my life. Yeah, look, I've struggled, but I overcame them. I'm the hero in this journey. Look at these cool things. And not ego, not trying to say, hey, look at me, I'm the rock star. But no, look, I've overcome. These have been the positives from it. These are the lessons I've learned from those hardships. Look at all these cool and incredible opportunities that I've had. When we start to shift the narrative we tell ourselves in the world, then we start to reinforce those neural pathways. And then they get stronger and stronger and stronger. And then we start to see and experience more positives, have more opportunities, all of those incredible things in our life. All because we switched our narrative, or we tweaked our narrative into a more positive light. Now, I've said the story you tell yourself and tell others, because we share our story with others, whether it's on social media, in person, from not like, oh, this whole long story. It could just be, oh, this happened to me this morning. Oh, I was on my, excuse me. I was on my way to work this morning. Someone cut me off. Okay. Well, how are you looking at that story and sharing it? Are you sharing it in a positive way or in a negative way? Or you went grocery shopping and things were happening in the store. Well, how are you sharing it? In a positive way or a negative way? It comes down to those small things that we tell other people that can affect that whole narrative. Now, that's us telling other people, but we talk to ourselves more than anybody else. I remember as a kid, I remember saying like, oh, people who talk to themselves are weird. And that just as a kid, I don't know why, but that's what I thought and that's what I believed. Yet I talked to myself all the time. And maybe you've done that before or felt that way, but I believe we all talk to ourselves because we all have that inner critic, that inner voice. And sometimes we have full-on dialogues with them in our own minds. And so we tell ourselves this story of, oh, this sucks. This is hard. Why is this happening to me? Who am I? We have this internal conversation about and the narrative about how our life is and how it's going more often than we tell other people. Well, guess what? Telling yourself and talking to yourself in that way or shape or fashion, your brain doesn't know the difference. So it's going to reinforce those pathways however you're saying it. So if you're saying it in a more negative light, it's going to paint it and reinforce a negative narrative. If it's in a more positive light, then it's going to reinforce a positive one when you're talking to yourself and when you're talking to other people. It doesn't matter. The brain doesn't know the difference. So it's going to reinforce whichever one is being used and told more often. Now, I want to be clear that I'm not saying stuff about, toxic positivity and that, you're going to face no hardships or you just glaze over the hardships in your life. I'm not saying that. We all experience hardships. We all struggle. We all stumble. We all go through these valleys. We all do. Heck, I had like about a day and a half funk last week. I was just in a funk, and I used some of my tools and strategies to pull myself out of it, and it helped and pull me out totally, but it got me to the surface a couple times, and then I fell back in and whatever, but I got myself out in a day and a half as opposed to a week or multiple days. In any case, it's all how I shape that narrative, right? I just share, hey, I fell in a funk, it happens. What I do, I used the tools and strategies I had, which helped. Didn't pull me out of it because I want to be honest. It didn't pull me out totally, but it helped. And then I finally left. I finally got myself out of that funk. And you want to know how I got myself out of that funk? By coming up with an action plan and taking action. That pulled me out of that funk. So we are all going to face hardships, but it's all on how we look at those hardships. Woe is me, or hey, look, this empowered me and I learned from it. The choice is yours. Pick the narrative that best serves you and where you want to go. The choice is yours. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I hope this episode was helpful. Please hit follow and subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you could share this podcast out with a person who you feel would really benefit from it, I would greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much. Keep being you. Keep shining bright. And until next time, I'll catch you later.